right. Can y'all hear me? Can I be heard? Can y'all hear me? Can I be heard? Y'all hit that comment section up. Thank you, everybody who's here. I seen a couple people leaving in, leaving out. Oh, shalom, shalom, family. What's up? What's up? What's up? Good, you guys can hear me. Listen, man, today's a good show. As you guys know, first and foremost, welcome to Let's Talk Podcast. We're happy for you guys to be here. We're streaming on Facebook and YouTube Live. First and foremost, I want to say thank you everyone for all the love and support you guys have been showing us. We are close to 5,000 subscribers in 3 months. That's crazy. So y'all, we trying to get to the 5,000. We want to get there. We so close. So please, y'all, share this video, like this video, push it out, share it with all your friends and all your family. With that being said, we got a special guest coming. Akeem, make sure you guys have that camera leveled, okay? Because we want to see y'all face, all right? Because I see it moving. They don't see it moving, but I see it moving in the studio, okay? So I want you to level it up so we can see y'all pretty face, okay? All right? Now, we got a wonderful couple coming up tonight, Akeem and Ebony, and I can't wait to talk to them. We're going to get to know them, but ultimately, we're going to be talking about gender roles, the belief of them, household chores, and just being married in a modern society. And if it has any differences compared to, 50 years ago or 60 years ago, has our society somehow changed the way that we view marriage or how we run our marriages? So I thought, what best way to do that than bring a couple up that's actually doing it, right? So that's what we're going to be doing today. If you guys have any questions at all, I'm going to hit the link in the box and they don't mind answering any questions, but we're going to get to that towards the end of the show. So towards the end of the show, I'm going to put the link inside the comment section, and all you guys got to do is hit it and we'll bring you up and you can address any questions you like. This is a great opportunity for all of us, because a lot of times we hear people always giving their opinions and their thoughts on how they think a marriage should run, or what does Black love look like in America. And we have all these different, we got the Jay-Z's and the Beyoncé's, right? That's the examples that they give us. But I want to really tap into reality. What does it really look like for everyday people? Not Beyonce and Jay-Z, but what does it look like for everyday people like you and me? And I think that that'll be a great thing for us to do today. And that's what we're going to do. So with that being said, let's bring up our special guest. Hey, what's up?
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, y'all look so good. Look at that.
I had to quickly wash my hair. I was like, what is all that stuff in it?
Let me tell you, that's the look now. They be making it wet, curly, and silk back and stuff. It look good. He like it. He
I see you, sis.
So how y'all feeling?
Doing well, doing good.
All praises.
Good. Thank you guys for being here. I'm so grateful and thankful that you guys decided to do this, because not a lot of people are willing to come on a live and share their experiences, what they're going through on a day-to-day. And I know you guys are ultimately doing it in the hopes of helping somebody else. That's why me and my husband did it. So I want to just tell you guys, thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. You already know, sis. I got you. Anything you need, I got you.
And I love that shirt you got on. I'm loving
thank
it.
you. Shout out to me, Image Apparel.
Oh, okay. Y'all check it out. We doing sponsors. We try to get sponsors, y'all. Go.
I'll link y'all up. For sure.
Thank you. Now, first and foremost, we want to get to know you guys. So why don't y'all introduce the people to yourselves individually, and then we want to definitely get into how you guys met and things like that. So introduce yourself to the people.
I am Ebony Johnson. We've been married for how long, babe? We made 7 years this year. We've been together for about 8.5, almost 9. We have 3 beautiful children. And we live in Florida.
All right, brother, introduce yourself to the people.
Brother King, Jamal Johnson, but I go by my middle name. A lot of you guys know me as Solemn Prophet if you've heard my music, or if you've seen any of the videos that I've done on my YouTube channel. Used to be Lyrical Entertainment Ministry, now it's Truth Talk Radio, talking music, talking scripture, and everything like that. She already gave our history, so absolutely.
And also, he's going to be on here next Sunday, you guys, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be doing an album release. This music is fire, you guys. I didn't hear all of it. I got to hear a couple samples, and I'm loving it, especially the ones he did with his kids. Y'all gonna love that one. So y'all definitely come here next Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and check out his album release. But we're not gonna be doing all that today. Let's stay focused, okay? Let's stay focused. Now, the first thing I want to know is, you guys say you live in Florida. Have you guys always lived in Florida? How did you guys meet? Things like that.
Absolutely. Well, we ain't always lived in Florida.
No.
I just recently got out the military, so we've been all over the place a little bit. We met in Florida, and then about 5 years later, I got an assignment overseas. So Ebony and the family went to California for the year that I was in Turkey. Then when I finished that tour up, came back to the States, and then we ended up going to Guam for a couple years.
It was about 3 years, and then it was finally time for us to come back. And he's originally from Chicago. I'm originally from California, and I always say I'll never go back to California. He always says he'll never go back to Chicago. So I was like, well, we met in Florida. We loved Florida. I guess we're going back to Florida. And mind you, both, actually all 3 of our kids were born in Florida. So it was like, well, Florida's going to be home again. So we just came back.
So this is a question I want to know. Before you guys got married, were you already in the military?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you met him in the military?
Yes. And that's a story.
That's what I want to get into, because that had to be kind of long distance, no?
So technically, in the very beginning, it was. So we met online.
Which site was this? This is
you don't even want to know the next. So, and this is the crazy thing.
We need to know which site is working.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. So the site that we met on is not, open or I guess up anymore. It was called Date Hookup.
Yeah.
What? That was.
I know it sounds dirty.
It sounds dirty and horrible, right?
Yeah.
Mind you, the crazy thing was neither of us was actually, we weren't looking for a relationship. Well, he says he wasn't.
Date hookup. That's what it's called. Date hookup.
Yeah, but we weren't looking to hook up. I can tell you, I know I wasn't. I can't. He can tell you the truth on that or not. I don't know. I just know, my sister, she was like, I was a single mom of our oldest, and she was like, your life is consumed with only her. And she was like I had gotten to the point where I was like, well, I guess I'm going to be single, and I'm going to do what my mom did with me and my brother. I guess I'm going to be that mother. I'm going to be a single mom. I'm going to focus on my kid. I'm not going to worry about anybody else. I'm not going to worry about dating. I'm not going to worry about any of that. And I started doing that. And my sister was like, you are not your mom. You are not your mom, and you are going to wind up like depressed. And she's like, you need to get out and make friends. I said, well, how do I get out and make friends? I said, because I'm not about going to clubs. Like I've done all of that already. So where do I go and meet people to make friends? And she's like, if anything, go online. I said, but people online, they want to either, have sex or date. And I don't want to have sex or date. And she was like, trust me, there are people online that are looking for friends as well, going through the, in similar situations as you. So I went on, I created a profile, and oddly enough, it was so funny because my profile said I was looking for both male and female because I was looking for friends. I wasn't looking to date.
Girl, you on the wrong site looking for friends.
But, right? So, I ran into a lot of, funny situations.
On there like that, talking about you looking for friends. Them women probably like, yeah, I'll be your friend. I'll be your friend.
I know, but I believe, you have to be a male or female. You have to be a woman or a man of your word. And if I say I'm looking for something and you can't respect that, I will cut you off and I will move on. You know what I mean? So, and I had to do a lot of cutting off, and
but somehow
essentially that is
for him.
Yeah, essentially that's how we met on.
So this is what I want to know from him. What were you looking for when you went onto that app? When you were getting ready to meet, were you looking? Because she said she was looking for friends. She was like, girl, cat, woman, dog. She didn't care. She was looking for friends. What you was looking for, brother? What you was looking for?
It was similar, but I had just got cat,
dog.
No. Female. I always got along better with female friends than males.
So
But
you weren't looking for a relationship, you were looking for a friendship. Same thing like her.
yeah, I was just trying to find someone I can hang out with and be cool and chill with because I had just recently got divorced like a few months before you know that. So I was just when you off the market for so long, you don't really know how to get out there and communicate.
Yeah. So you two were in like a really sensitive place. She's a
Oh.
single mom trying to dedicate raising her kid, and you're off of a divorce. So you guys were in a really sensitive space. And I think what might have worked out for you guys, you tell me if I'm wrong, you guys both looking for the same thing, just a friendship and respecting each other's, boundaries. I'm just looking for a friendship. I believe that maybe that helped to bring you guys
absolutely.
together.
Yeah, until I saw her, and then all of that went out the window. Look, I'm telling you. So look, I was on my phone, right? On little hand at. Okay, I was on my phone, right? And I'm still scrolling. You know how I have the little profile pictures of people up, and you just scrolling. And then I'm like, all these females is ugly. Like, I don't want to have no ugly friends, But then I was like, let me just stretch out the distance.
You saw that red bone. That was it.
No, he changed because he was located up in Destin, Florida.
Yeah,
it's up in the Panhandle. And then I was down in Orlando, so we were driving distance about 6.5 hours away from each other.
Oh, so that's why you said in the beginning it was long distance.
Yeah.
Yes.
6 hours away from each other.
Yeah.
He opened up the, because you can pick the mileage that you wanted to search people, like the city.
He had to open his real far.
He opened his up to 500 miles. And mind you, where he was located and where I was located is literally about 468 miles.
Yeah. At this point, it was one chick was crazy, just flat out crazy. Like she showed up like, you my man, and I'm like, no, I am not your man. And then the other one, it was. So I had some bad experiences. So needless to say, the little 25 to 50 mile thing, I changed that arrow and I put the 500. I said, look, we need to open this up a little bit, right? Yeah. So then when I opened it up, obviously a whole bunch of new people started to pop up, and then I saw her picture, and her picture was like looking into my soul, and like everything that I said that I wanted went out the window, and I wanted her, but I was still kind of looking to get to know somebody. So when she told me initially, when I messaged her, I just slid in her DMs real smooth, like, right, you know what I'm saying?
So he was really sweet, like.
He said he slid in there, nice and smooth.
I'm very big on energy, right? And I believe you can sense and feel things from people. And he literally, the message he wrote me, he was like, I just had to come here and let you know how beautiful you are. I read your profile. I'm actually looking for the same thing, only friends. I'm not looking for anything more. I would love to get to know you based on your profile. You seem really genuine. He was like, if you don't respond, I completely understand, but I just wanted to come and tell you how beautiful you are. Oh, I'm sure you get it all the time or you hear it all the time, but I really do mean it. And I just wanted to come and let you know, if you don't respond back, it's okay. No, no hard feelings. I understand. I respect it. I just wanted to come and tell you and let you know how beautiful you are. And so I read that message for like 3 days because when I first read the message, I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And I went and saw his profile. And the first thing I saw was he was 23. At the time, I was 27. I was like, nope.
Ooh, so you're a youngin'.
I was like, nope. I was like, we don't do younger. Nope. And then I kept reading, and it was like in the military. I was like, heck, like we not doing that at all. Like I was like, nope. But for 3 days, I couldn't help it. I'd keep going back to read his message, and I just could. It was like I could feel
it sounds genuine.
The genuineness. Yes, like so. I was like, so finally, I always tell when I tell the story, I always tell it this way because I feel like on day 3 was like I had an angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. And it's funny because I know a lot of women, we do this. I used to have this list of what I wanted in a man, right?
And he already was messing up on the list. He already messed up.
He already had 2 of them, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. And so for me, it was the angel is like, you say you're looking for friends, so that list doesn't even apply to him. Like, why are you even going off of that list? A friend is a friend. You can go visit, you can go travel, y'all can go hang out, y'all might have things in, you know what I mean, that y'all like or whatever. And then the devil was like, nope, he don't fit what's on your list. And I'm like, but the angel said the list doesn't matter. So once again, why are we going off of this list? And finally I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write back. I can't remember exactly what I wrote back. I do remember at the end of it though, I put, I'll bite. Like a fish in a hook.
So
I said,
so sweet, blah, 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 blah.
I said something.
Yeah. He put the bait out.
And then I said, I'll bite. And so he said, as soon as he saw that, he was like, oh, she's mine. It's done.
So what
it was a wrap.
What was that for you? That was like, yeah, this is the girl I want to talk to.
So it was like, I'm telling you, this picture she had, it was like I'm serious. Look, this was back before, like, I'm old school. This was back before Instagram models and all that stuff, right? But the picture was like black and white silhouette. She had on like a dark shirt, and she was just standing with her hair was straight, like it was straight. And she was standing at the screen, but she was looking directly at the camera. So that means she was looking directly
like she was
at
looking
me.
At your soul. She was looking
at me. Yes. Yes. And she had her hand like on her face and like a little pose.
My hand was like this. I was sitting in a chair and it was just like my hand was leaning. And I
was like,
she was looking into your soul while being feminine at the same time.
Yep, absolutely. So when she wrote me back, I was like, yo, it's a wrap. This is it.
That's it. I'm going for it. So the long distance relationship, real quick, what was that like? Was it difficult in the beginning, or was it did it keep the spices going because it gave you time to because I always tell people this, y'all tell me if I'm wrong. I always tell people sometimes a long distance relationship in the beginning could be the best, because what it does is it forces you to get to know the person. It's not about the physical. It's not about, trying to be intimate, because you can't. Like you're far apart. So all you get to do is talk and get to know each other. Like that's pretty much what happens.
And we would talk for hours.
Yeah.
He'd get off of work, and we'd be on the phone. And then sometimes I'd have to get off to do something obviously for my daughter, do something for myself or whatever. And
yep, she was looking right at me.
And sometimes, he would get off because he'd be like, hey, I got to go make dinner, or I got to go, read scripture or whatever it is. But I promise I'm going to call you back. But when I say at every turn, we were just like always on the phone. Some nights I'd have to like force him off because I'm like, you got to get up at 6 o'clock to go to work. Mm-hmm. And, mind you, he's at the time he was obviously active duty in the military. And I'm like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. He's like, I'm good. Like,
I was dying the next day at work. What?
No, you're not.
But it was worth it. You was like, I don't care.
For him, it was so worth it.
Wake up first.
Let me ask you guys something. So as you guys know, 70%, this is what they say. 70% of women file for divorce, 90% of educated women file for divorce. My question is this. All these women filing for divorce, whether it's a man's fault or the woman's fault, I always ask myself, what was it you didn't see that you end up marrying this person, and now such a high number of women are walking away? So my question to you guys is, you got this long distance relationship, you starting to feel each other out. Obviously, you starting to really get into one another. What was it for you guys? And I want to hear from her first, of course, and then him. What was it that made you say, you know what? I want to take this to the next level. I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. I want to marry this person.
At every turn, he was genuine and on. Like, it's hard to, I use the word genuine, but not only was he genuine, he was honest. He was upfront. He was real. So one of the things he told me upfront, and mind you, this was while we were still only friends. He said, I just need you to know, he was like, I know you have a daughter. He was like, I have a situation from my previous marriage where I may possibly have a son. At that time, he did not know if his son was his. And I said, oh, that's fine. I said, and I went into the details of asking why he didn't know and, all of that. And I said, well, I'll help you, get the DNA test. And he was like, you don't have to do that. Like, you're not my girl. You're not. I said, but I'm a woman first. I said, and there aren't many men in the world you know, there's a lot. What I'm saying is that statistically they don't show it, right? I said, but it's not often that you see a man trying to be in their child's life. And unfortunately, what's not discussed often is the women that are keeping these good men from their kids.
So you wanted to be an advocate for him.
Yeah. So I said, you sound like you if he is yours, you sound like you absolutely want to be a part of his life. And he hadn't even turned 1 yet. And he was like, I don't know, you know, like, he was like, you really don't have to, you know, it's not your job. Like, I just wanted to let you know that that's what the situation was. And I was like, once again, I'm not doing this for me. Like, this isn't for me. This is for you. And then, you know, I went and explained, you know, the legal side of some things of just not getting it done. I said, 10 years down the line, something happened. And then you do find out you owe 10 years of back pay. You don't want 10 years of back pay. So it's better you find out now. And not only that, that's 10 years of time you missed with your son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so he was like, man, you know, he's like, I really appreciate it. I really thank you. You don't have to do this at any time. You know, if you know, you just, and I was like, no, it's okay. And so
him being honest with his situation, with at every turn, everything
at every turn,
will probably turn away from that. It's some women that are probably saying, what you gotta, what you talking about?
Yeah,
you weren't like that. And I think that for you was what made you say, you know what? I think this is the man that I want to spend the rest of my life with.
His actions matched what he said. And the problem is as women too, we don't, you know, we hear the I love yous. We hear the I want to take you on trips and I want to buy you gifts and all this stuff. We hear it. And mind you, they do it, but their actions don't match the I love yous. Their actions don't match that they respect us. Their actions don't match that they'll be faithful. Their actions don't match that they'll provide or do anything for us or put us first. Their actions don't match any of that. The problem is we keep wanting to believe in the potential.
Yeah, not what we're looking at.
No, not what they're actually showing us. If a man is not and it's not to say that man can't get there, right? But at that time, at that point, you need to stay friends and you need to let him work on whatever he needs to work on so he can get there.
But what did you say to women that, and I want to get to him, of course, about what was it for him that decided that he wanted to marry, especially him getting out of a divorce and now going back into getting married, you know, because I want to get into that, but it's kind of scary. But obviously it worked out, so all glory to God. All glory to God. But what I want to know is before we get to him, what would your advice be for women that do that marry for potential? And then let's say they do marry for potential, and then the potential doesn't happen. Should they be just divorcing? Should they just say it is what it is and this is what I signed up for? What do you say to that?
I think the worst thing you can do is force change on someone. That one, if they don't realize they need to change or that they need to grow, you know, the individual has to realize it for themselves. So I feel like you do need to give them the opportunity. I don't say, you know, run straight to divorce. But I encourage counseling, sitting with someone, talking with someone. Especially for men, sometimes I notice men do better by sitting and talking with other men, you know, that are in marriages and, you know, be it that they're successful or their marriages are working. You know, find friends that are, that you guys can connect with as a couple. That way they have another man to talk to, but definitely counseling. And because like I said, you want to give everybody the opportunity to change and definitely to realize that they need to change.
Yeah.
And after, you know, at that point, after that, if there is no change, then you as the individual, you have to decide what is best for you. It's hard to when you have kids involved. Because I've seen it in many, 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 many situations where they are great fathers. They are there. They, you know, they provide, they do whatever it is that they need to do in regards to the kids, but they aren't doing what they need to do for the spouse. So that's hard as well. So you really have to figure it out. And it's one of those things I always tell people, don't look at the long run of it. Take it day by day. And if you can make it through each day and go to bed happy, then you're working towards progress. If every day you're going to bed upset and miserable and depressed and it's just not going anywhere, then you need to have an adult to an adult conversation with your spouse and sit down and say, what are we really doing? Where is this really going? Is this helping us grow? Because if it's not, then we need to peacefully probably go our separate ways, co-parent, and then, you know what I mean?
Move from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So y'all ladies better take that advice, because she dropping gems, y'all. Y'all around here getting all these divorces. You know how expensive that is?
Don't get married for potential. Don't do it.
Don't do it. It ain't worth it. Now, brother, this is what I want to ask you. Yours a little bit different because you were younger, one. You already got out of divorce, two. Then you got the baby on the way, and there's some issues with that. We're not going to get into that, but you got some issues with that. What was it? Like, I need to know. Like, because most men will say, you know, I hear brothers that say, man, I will never get married again, especially in the United States, because the way the system is set up, when men walk away, or even if the woman walks away, even if he didn't do anything wrong, it's hard for him. They usually take almost everything he owns, half or more. They usually get primary custody. Some of them get alimony, child support. It's a lot that can be on you. So what was it for you? With all that risk you already had once, for you to go in and for two times, what was it for you?
And jump back in the water.
Sister, what was it you saw? And what advice would you give to other brothers out there that's probably been through a divorce, a messy divorce, or whether it was good or bad? What advice would you give? So first, of course, what made you want to say, yeah, this is the one? What did you see? And then what would your advice be to other brothers?
Well, right out the gate, like she said, you know, I was genuine and I was consistent. And so was she. And like she said, you know, she was willing to kind of help me out with the legality and navigate through a really complicated situation. And a lot of women wouldn't have done that, right? A lot of women would have been like, nah, that's your business. That's your situation. You call me when you get that cleared up, right? Yeah. But no, she was there every second, every step of the way. And then, so that showed me a lot too. So at that point, I was like, okay. You know, because I had already, by that time, we had already like started to really like one another. So it was gradually going from just a pure platonic friendship, and it was blossoming into something more. And I was really, that really caught my attention. But then ever since then, like, we would communicate. We had a lot in common. And even the things that we didn't have in common, the way we communicated, it was like open transparency, honesty about everything. Everything just clicked, everything lined up. And then I had got to the point where when I was thinking about like dating, I prayed to the Most High. I said, you know, if this is the individual that I'm meant to be with, because I was terrified. After that divorce, I was like, bro, I don't ever get married again. I'm good. Like, I'm straight. Like, and what happened?
Did what you look for in a wife change?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, it changed. You know, before it was just like, oh, you know, because I've always been like what they call it, a romantic, you know. By the time I turned 21, I was ready to settle down. Like, I was like, I need a wife, need to start a family. You know what I'm saying? My career is already on the upswing. You know what I mean? So I wasn't like a lot of 21-year-olds. The other brothers my age that was around me, they were all like just clubbing and partying. I ain't really do that. You know what I mean? So what I looked for in a wife definitely changed after the divorce. And she was checking like every box. Like every single box. And then the way it ended up working out, after I prayed to the Most High, he hit me with confirmation. Not too long after that, it was probably like a month. He was like, yo, this the one. I was like, I bet. Let's go. So I hit her up and I said, listen, I done been through a lot. You done been through a lot. I'm done with the BS. You done with the BS. We ain't about no games. You the one I want. You the one that I'm interested in. You know, this is something that I want long term. This is something that I see, you know, blossoming into a beautiful marriage. So, you know, I'm willing to be completely exclusive if you're willing to be. And she was down. Ever since, you know, that's history. That was 8 years ago. Look, where we at now. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all going for the decade and more. Y'all going for the decade or more. So this is my thing, right? So hearing what you're saying and hearing what she's saying, what it really comes down to is honesty and just being genuine. saying
Mhm.
what you want. I only want to be friends. Well, now I want to be more than friends, and I want to be exclusive to only you, and that's it. So I think a lot of advice that the people could get from, you know, your guys' marriage and other people's marriages, even me and my husband, is just be honest. Say what you're looking for. Say what you're not looking for. Don't try to be with people for potential. If you want to think that they got potential, that's fine, but don't be with them because you have created this whole person in your mind.
In your head, yeah.
Because sometimes it doesn't work that way, and then when it doesn't, now you're breaking up families and homes and children and things like that.
Yeah.
So I hope people are definitely taking heed to this, whoever's on live and whoever's going to check the replay out. So now what I want to ask you guys is, since you had a child before you were with him, and now he had a child, he had a marriage. So this is a lot of layers, right? That some people might say, statistically, this ain't looking good when you look at the number. That's what they say, right? But obviously, you guys definitely have God on your side because you guys are just knocking them barriers down, right? But let's be honest. When you guys decided to come together and blend this family, because he was long distance, you know, he's there, you're here. When you guys finally just came in together, one household, he's the man, you the woman, y'all living together. You got a man there now, girl. It ain't just over the phone no more. Was that a hard adjustment for you? And then, of course, for him, like, what was that like? The transitioning, blending in the family and all that stuff. What was that like?
So I don't know that it was hard because for us, what happened was we would, during the long distance, like while I was still in Orlando, we would literally like almost every other month, it felt like we would take turns coming back and forth to stay and, you know, like see each other.
So it sounds like you guys were able to get your feet wet.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a boom, we doing this. It was just kind of like,
yeah. So then I made the last trip around, was it Christmas? It was like Christmas, New Year's time.
Christmas time.
And so I went up to, I think I was supposed to be up there maybe for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I remember calling my mom like, hey, I'm staying another week. Because at that time I was working from home. So I was like, I had my laptop with me. I was like, I'm staying another week. And she was like, I miss my grandbaby. And I was like, but we're happy over here. So we're staying. And so 1 week turned to 2 weeks. And I was like, you know what? And at the time I had been, my work from home job was going to end. And I had already been looking for work down in Orlando, but I couldn't find anything. So I was like, well, let me look for work up here. I was like, if I find a job up here, I'm staying. And he was like, bet, stay. So I went ahead and started looking for work, and I found work. And so I called my mom and I was like, just so you know, I'm going to come down and get some of my stuff. But I'm moving. I'm moving up here. And she was like, what? I was like, yes. So, you know, she was like, I'm losing my grandbaby and all this stuff. And
oh yeah, that's gonna be rough.
My mom wasn't happy, but I was happy. Yeah. And my daughter was happy.
But what was that? But what was it like though? In the initially in the beginning, being like a family? Because it sounds like you guys were able to try it out, take it away. Like you guys were able to kind of slowly integrate into that blended family. Once it was official, like you know,
it didn't feel awkward. It felt, and because we did it slowly, it felt kind of a little more fluid. But we were able to learn each other. Yeah. Like he learned what I liked and what I didn't like, and I learned what, you know, vice versa. And then when we did have hiccups, we just would talk about it. Like
communication.
Yes. We never, like, you know, a lot of people say, oh, it's awkward. If it's awkward to talk to the person you're saying you want to spend the rest of your life with, why are you with them? That can't possibly be the one you want to spend the rest of your life with.
You don't even be talking about, you don't even need to be discussing why you have an issue. The awkwardness should be the problem. Yeah. That's what y'all need to discuss. Why is this awkward?
Yeah. So it's funny because we have this thing in our relationship that we call nigga moments. And so let me explain. Yeah. So he'll say something or I'll say something and we just get this look like,
please.
And so the other will
Ninja, please.
The other person will look like, I'll look at him and I'm like, oh, you having a nigga moment, huh? I'm like, go ahead and spit it out. That's like when you like, so you want to say something, but then you don't want to really say it, but you gonna say it. So go ahead and say it. And so he'll like, it's just hilarious because we have them all of the time. And I'll look at him and I'm like, go ahead and finish having your moment, finish that thought, and then go ahead and let that thought come out.
Yeah,
And like,
we got 3.
So I think y'all figured. I think y'all figured it out how to communicate it with each other when you know that person is having a moment, not having a moment. I kind of do the same thing with my husband, but I think what a lot of us do is we try to change things in one another. Not that I'm saying we don't have to fix some things with ourselves, but it's some things that we must work on. But when it's just certain things that we do that just is a part of our character, a lot of times instead of us trying to find a way to compromise or work through it, the other party just is like, I don't like it, stop it. Now, I'm not saying you can't have that attitude with everything, but some things, if it's like that person's personality, like one of my kids, whenever he gets nervous, he laughs. And it could be in really uncomfortable situations. Like you really shouldn't be laughing at that. But I know he's doing it because he's just uncomfortable.
That's just how he is.
For me to try to stand over him and say, you don't do that. Like this is his personality. And it's something he's going to have to, of course, over time work on. But I have to understand that. I have to compromise and meet him halfway. With that being said, this person says from the bottom fitness, I came in late. I wanted to ask if y'all have children, and if y'all do, how did that change your marriage? So I guess he wants to know, because just so you don't know, this was a blended family from both sides, and then they end up adding more children to the bunch. So this was probably a little bit different for them.
We have a mine. I came to the relationship with one. We have a his that he came to the relationship with one, and then we have an ours, one that we had together. And it happens so, it feels like it happened so fast because
too fast. Listen.
He became a father of 3.
I was a bachelor, right? I was a straight bachelor. I was 23 in my prime. You feel me? In the military. You know what I'm saying? Bachelor. We had a 2-bedroom. I had a 2-bedroom townhome. Right? Me and my buddy actually was roommates. One of my coworkers from my job, and in 1 year, I went from 0 kids to 3 kids. To 3 kids, boy. It was crazy. No, but yeah.
So what was that like though? How did that? He wants to know. Well, the thing is the way that their relationship worked, it's like the long distance worked for them. It kind of allowed them to get to kind of test the waters and kind of slowly work into the whole relationship. But at the same time, for you, that had to be pretty difficult. You going from being this young bachelor man, traveling the world, to bam, 3 kids.
Yeah. The long distance aspect was a little easier for me because I had already had experience with it. You know what I'm saying? And so when we would talk and we would discuss, even when we were like, we were going to date kind of thing, we weren't even really like talking about sex and discussing sex. We was just literally pouring into each other and learning each other. So it was just really great. And in regards to the relationship, it wasn't hard. Like the hardest part was the parenting. The parenting styles was different. She was brought up differently than I was brought up. And so
get into that real quick. I gotta get into that because this is what I gotta do it. I'm putting you on right now. This for you, my brother. So there's a movement going on right now, and we're gonna get soon because we're at the 45-minute mark. We're gonna get in soon about the whole gender roles. But before we get into that, I gotta get into this. There's a movement going on where brothers are telling other brothers, do not mess with single moms. Leave them alone. Even if they're the greatest type of single mom or woman, because the risk, that's what they say. And I was a single mom before I got married. So I'm kind of like, I don't like that rule.
Right.
They're like, don't mess with single moms because the risk is not worth it. And there's no reward. So how they feel is that at any point that child can just disown you. At any point that child can just say, you're not my dad, leave me alone. Also, the woman, a lot of times what the men are complaining about is that the women, they love the man, they want to be with the man, but when it comes to him trying to discipline their child, they feel like you don't went too far.
Yeah,
I love you and
not in my house,
but you don't went too far. You need to back it up. So
no, see, and that's the problem. So let me step in and say this.
Okay.
Because this is the problem I have with women. As a woman, you chose to have that child. But now you are no longer with that child's father, and you want to go find a man to be with you and take and love and raise and accept your child. You want him to provide for that child as if that child is his own. You want him to love, support, and encourage that child as if that child is his own, but yet he can't discipline the child.
Don't make no sense.
It does not make any sense. Now, when it's a household where the child is already older, 5, 6, 7 years old, they're no longer toddlers, the man should still be able to discipline the child. You guys have to figure out what form of discipline you're okay with. But I've seen it in households, like you said, the man can't even say anything to the child. And that's a problem, because there's no guarantee that you as the mom are always going to be around when the child needs to be disciplined. And then the problem is are you going to wait till you come home at night to discipline the child? 6, 7 hours may have passed already. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like,
so, well, what would you say to brothers then? Because I'm going to get to him, but since we're talking to you now, of course you're letting the sisters know y'all can't be doing that. You can't say you want to be with this man, you want him to provide, you want him to protect, you want him to love you, but you can't discipline a child. But what would your advice be to brothers out there who should they be vetting these women, asking questions? Because some women might say, oh yeah, I'm sure, but then when it's time to do it, it's like they're like, oh, I don't like this. So what would you be your advice for these brothers that's messing with single moms and single moms that are messing with men that
in the vetting stage, in the dating stage, if she's not gonna let you help discipline or come together, because one rule that we have in our house is I will never step on his toes and he will never step on mine when it comes to disciplining. Whoever is present in the moment and starts the discipline, that's who finishes it. He may not like the way I choose to discipline the kids in the moment, but he will never tell me in front of them, because at that point, then the kids say, oh, they're divided. That's when kids start to pit parents against each other. Mm-hmm. We're not doing that. Not in this house. He'll wait till I'm done, and then he'll look at me and he'll be like, to the bed.
You have a ninja moment?
No, but he'll be like, hey, to the bedroom. So we go to the bedroom and he'll be like, babe, I think you were either too hard or you were too soft, or I think you should have did this instead of that. Do you know what I mean? And it gives me the opportunity to see his side, right? And then I can make the choice to turn around and say, I'm either going to stick to what I decided, or you know what, I might change it up based on what he said. But it'll be my decision, and it doesn't look like we're stepping on each other's toes. My kids, you can ask them. They go, we hate it. Mom and dad agreed on everything, but they don't realize it. We really don't, but we just don't show them that we don't agree in front of them.
Yeah, because the kids, they will try to conquer you.
It's
only 2 of us.
We're not doing that.
It's 2 of y'all. Yes, I know it's 3 of them against 2 of y'all. They gonna get y'all. So you guys gotta team up at all causes, because these kids, they smart. They be thinking kids don't know stuff, but they do. And if they see a weakness in the marriage, they're not thinking, how could this affect their marriage? They're just thinking, how can I get away with this?
Yes,
that's all they're thinking about. And if I gotta get mommy worked up, or if I gotta get daddy worked up to get what I want, then I'm willing to do it. Yeah. Got a question here. And this brother says, and I want you to answer this, Akeem. My wife and I never have fights and arguments, but once the kids came in the picture, we can't stop arguing. What would your advice be to this brother?
All right. So like we said, this is just advice, brother to brother, right? Try not to argue in front of the kids. If you got a disagreement, even if you got to wait till the kids go to bed, or y'all got to step outside, right? Communicate on everything and be respectful, no matter what. At the end of the day, that's your rib. You know what I'm saying? It's you and her against everybody that's outside. So at the end of the day, even if y'all have a disagreement, understand that y'all are allies and y'all on the same team. Once you got that down, it make everything else easier. I'm not saying y'all not gonna argue at all, but if y'all respectful at the end of the day, then you can be able to work through whatever it is. Now, kids is difficult. You got all kind of stuff with kids. Kids got different personalities. They push different buttons. You got the disciplining. You might discipline different than your wife. She might discipline different than you. She might allow certain things that you might not allow, and vice versa. So you just got to find out what really works for the both of you and be willing to compromise. Because if y'all don't not willing to compromise, you're just gonna keep butting heads.
And respect in your marriage is big. Because a lot of times what happens, I think, when it comes to fights and arguments, people are wanting to be right. People are fighting to be right. But when you have a family, it's not about who's right. It's about what's best, for the situation at hand, be it for your kids, be it for something that's just between you and your wife. It's not about, well, I'm right because I know I'm right. Like, no, it's what's best for this situation. Prime example, I let my daughter wear nail polish. I do not let her wear dark colors. As long as they're like pastel colors, bright colors, that's okay with me. When I was growing up, my mother would never let me wear nail polish. She told me only prostitutes wore nail polish.
That's what my dad told me. That's what my dad told me too.
I was not allowed to wear nail polish. And then even when it came time for me to shave my legs, my mother was like, nope, if God wanted you to have shaved legs, you would have been born with no hair on your body. So a lot of these, and I remember growing up, my mom used to say, if you want to parent differently, when when it's time for you to have your kids, then you do that. If you want to let your daughter wear nail polish, when you have a daughter, then you do that. But in my house, you won't be wearing any nail polish. So once I had a daughter, I was like, I'm okay with nail polish as long as it's light, soft, pastel-y colors.
How did he feel about that?
He does not agree with it. He does not like it at all. He does not.
What's that emoji?
My husband's the same. So only one my husband agreed on was the glitter polish.
So
the clear glitter.
He's not going
to let that
like somewhere. If it was up to him, like, and I don't want to make it sound like it's not up to him, but do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
He's
He's compromising a little
correct.
bit.
He's like, look, I get it. I get that when you were younger, and your mom was raising you, blah, 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 blah. So you know what? I'm going to respect it. I'm not going, trip. I just need you to know I don't like it. And I'm not going for it. So, it's that level of compromise, but also respect for how I feel and the way I view it. You know what I mean? And, so he was like, he didn't pick me apart. He didn't be like, I'm the man of this house and I don't care how you feel. And I don't care how your mama raised you the right way. And that's what we gonna do in this house. And like, no, he was, he's like, look, I don't like it, but I respect how you feel. So I'm a bow, I'm not going to necessarily bow the knee. I'm just going to walk away. And I just,
I wanted to answer that question earlier about the single parents, right? Yes. If you a brother and you interested in a single mom, right, you should vet her just like you would vet somebody that didn't have kids, but it's just more to vet. So not only are you looking at, is this person a good fit for me? Does this person have a good head on their shoulders? Are they driven? Are they ambitious? Do they have good qualities? Now you have to see, how do they operate as a mom? What kind of qualities does the child have? Because ultimately, if you get with that individual, you're going to be involved in that child's life. So you're looking at the whole scope and the whole picture. Don't rush into nothing.
And it's not just them. You have to meet the family.
Family too.
Because when you get married, you marry into a family the same way the woman marries into a family. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't get married to someone that has toxic family, because the reality is we are living in a world that's overflowing, full of toxicity and toxic people.
But
right?
There's situation.
I think what you're trying to say is you want to get to know the family because this is what's going to be around your children possibility. And not just that, I think another thing is, a lot of people, you have to look at the relationship your partner has with the family. Like, is everything the mother say platinum? Like, if the mom says something, do you just drop everything and the mom is right? Or do you have somewhat of your own way of evaluating it? You still hear what the mom says, but you still kind of evaluate it. Because I think some men complain a lot to do with their mom. Like, for instance, she said her mom was devastated when she decided to leave, right? There are some women that will not leave because of the mom. I love you, babe, but unless you come here, I can't leave because of my mama. So that's some things you guys want to look into. But we have a question right here, another one. They says, what is the secret in making a long distance relationship work? And also they want to know, what are some deal breakers when it comes to the length of time being in a long distance relationship?
So the deal breakers, that's up to the individual. You know what you can deal with, you know what you can take. And if you don't know, you'll learn. Being in a long distance relationship long enough, you will learn what that deal breaker is for you. But the secret to being in a long distance relationship, communication, man. It sounds like a general topic, but seriously, talk to that individual, learn that individual, and you're gonna develop a bond that is stronger than the distance. I know that sounds kind of like probably cliche, but you're gonna develop a bond that's stronger than the distance. And then you're gonna look up and be on the phone one day and be like, yo, we've been together like 6 months. Oh snap, we've been together a year. We've been together a year and a half. And then before you know it, it's not even a big deal. And then when you finally do come together, you've already learned this person. Now you're just learning like mannerisms, right? Do they like they shower hot or cold? You know what I'm saying? How bad do they poop stink when they go to the bathroom? Look, these types of things, you know what I mean? But
they step out of the room when they pass gas. And what happens when they eat dairy? Like we didn't know these things. We didn't know these type of things.
Yeah.
But this is what I want to know, because we're already at almost the hour mark. So we got to get into the topic of what the show is about, y'all. So we're talking about gender roles, right? First, before we get into the nitty gritty, what are your thoughts on people who subscribe to gender roles? The typical traditional gender roles. A woman stays home, raises the kids, take care of the family, while the man goes out, makes the money, and then comes home. What are your thoughts on that?
If it works, I feel like if it works for them, then do it. I don't think there's anything, I mean, that's when you look back, centuries and stuff, like that's what it was. And for a lot of households, that's what worked. So if you can live in this modern world that we're in now and make it work, then do it. Like if it makes the couple and the household happy, then do it. Why? You know what I mean? Why subscribe to this, new modern way of, the woman has to, work, 40 hours or 60 hours a week and still come home and cook and do laundry and take care of the kids while the husband goes home, goes to work, but then comes home too and he does nothing. Like, no, you gotta do what works. So if, the older traditional form of, like you said, the woman stays home while the man goes to work, if it works for the household, it works for the marriage, I'm all for it. I believe every person is different. So, and every marriage is different. So and it may come to a point in the relationship where something somehow, some way, somewhere shifts, right? But if it works and y'all can do it, then do it.
All right, Akeem, what about you? What do you think about? What are your thoughts on people who subscribe to the traditional gender roles?
I don't think you should be rigid. I think you should keep an open mind. Like before me having a biblical understanding, I thought one way, like, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want to do and it'll work out as long as you just work at it, whatever. But learning, more of the biblical perspective and seeing how it's structured and how it works if you do it right. And here's the thing: the biblical perspective isn't just the guy goes to work and provide, and the woman just doesn't do anything but just take care of the kids. Read Proverbs 31 real closely.
Oh no, she's doing her thing.
She's doing her thing. You feel me? So
all type of stuff.
Absolutely. So we're having that biblical understanding. I think that yes, a man should be prepared to do whatever he needs to do to provide for his family. But like my wife said, sometimes things happen, things shift and change, right? Like for example, I was the what you call a breadwinner for the majority of the whole relationship, right? Being in the military. And when I got out the military, I'm in limbo right now between trying to figure out, am I going to go to school full time? Am I going go work for some type of corporation or whatever the case may be? And right now she's working, right? So I'm at the crib with the kids. They driving me crazy, right? And it's a flip because she's been with the kids all this time, and she like, yeah, you see how I feel, So no, but in all honesty, you just got to think, because you never know what can happen. Life can throw you all kind of curveballs, and if you so rigid with your mindset and you're not willing to change, if something like that happens, you won't be able to adjust. You got to be flexible.
And it's gonna cause
strain,
discord in the marriage. It's gonna be painful.
Absolutely.
And I think it's hard for men, especially when they're in that phase of, like, for example, my husband in the transition. You know, God forbid you hit a rough patch and you're in the process of trying to find a new job and you don't currently have one or whatever it is. That ego of, I'm supposed to be the breadwinner, I'm supposed to be the one providing. Like, that can cause fights, that can cause divorce, you know?
Yeah.
And one thing I thank God for is, you know, he's not like that. I mean, is he stressed out some days with the kids? Absolutely. Because there's 3 of them, and honey, 24/7 with kids is difficult. If you have not done it, it's rough. When we lived in Guam, I did not have a job that I went into. I did my own business, which was nails. And then we also rented out cars. And then I also babysat. So I was the house to come to if you needed your kids watched. They were like, yeah, she's trustworthy. She gonna feed your kids. She gonna, she gonna keep them in line. And like, so and sometimes my house would be, I'd have sometimes 12 kids, including mine, of course. But like, our house was the house full of kids. So between doing nails, babysitting, and renting out vehicles, and mind you, he was working full time still for obviously the military. Essentially, I was with my kids 24/7 for 3 years. And it took a toll on my mental health. But you know, now the roles are reversed because he's in this transition and I'm the one working, so I'm not home and he's the one with the kids. But and then even when it comes down to like housework, I like to brag about this because I absolutely hate laundry, and I can say that I don't do laundry in my house. I do not. He does all of the laundry. Only thing I have to do is, of course, you know, when he sorts my stuff out, I put it up, I put it away. And before my schedule with work got crazy and hectic, I was the one that would do the dishes. You know, and we kind of had that agreement. He was like, I hate dishes. And I was like, well, I hate laundry. So I got dishes, you got laundry, we're good. And mind you, and then the kids, they come in and they help do their own laundry. But then they also help me sometimes with dishes. And then just other chores in the house.
So it sounds like as a family, you guys have decided, okay, we got to do what's best for the family. And at the end of the day, I don't like doing this, but he enjoys doing that. He's not working right now, but I am. He's working on other projects. Let's just make this work. But this is my question to you, right? And you tell me if you think this is real or this is just people talking. You hear a lot of women say men are intimidated by me because I make a certain amount of money or I'm a career-driven women, right? And a lot of these career women, I've seen a lot of TikTok videos and all that. And I'm not trying to say that's everybody, but I hear a lot of women say things like, you know, if a man makes less than me, I can't respect him. So my question to you, matter of fact, it'll be to him than you. I want to ask him, does she treat you any different now that you're in transition? Or is she exactly the same? Does she feel like, you know, well, I'm the man of this relationship because I'm paying all the bills? Like, has she changed at all? And do you think that women out there are doing that?
So no, she ain't changed at all. Like, she's still, and that's why I rock with her. You know, she's still respectful. She still support me. She still love me. She still do everything a wife's supposed to do. But women are doing that out there. I do see it out there. I see it on social media. I see it in other people's relationships. At the end of the day, and I'm not just saying that because technically I'm unemployed right now. I'm saying it from even when I was, you know, in the military full time. It's not about the money, right? Yes, you should have a certain level of having things established financially, but as long as the bills are paid, as long as you guys have enough money to, you know, save, invest, you know what I'm saying, do shake and move, do your thing. It's not that big of a deal. If you as a woman make more money than the person that you with and it's a problem for you, then that means that money is a problem for you. You need to self-examine yourself and figure out what's going on in there. and vice versa. Same thing. If you're a man on the other end, and say you make, as a man, you make 50,000 a year, but your woman make 80,000 a year, you're not less of a man because I can tell you, in a split second she could lose her job, and in a split second you can get a promotion. That's just circumstances. It don't define who you are, and it don't define who she is. She not no better because she make more money, or you not any less of a man because you make less money.
But let me ask you something. The man that makes 50,000, right? Let's say he makes 50,000. For example, you guys, I don't know why people don't understand this, but there are actual trades and careers that make 50 or less. Like for EMTs, they make less than 50,000 a year. Some of the traveling ones make a little bit more, but a lot of them make like 45, 42,000 a year. What do you say to women? And I guess this could be for the sister. What do you say to women that feel like that's not good enough for them? Like they're not ambitious enough. Let's say a man's a bus driver, and bus drivers, at least in Florida, from my understanding, they do pretty okay. I think they do around 55, 60. It can do up to 60 grand and 55, depending on overtime. So let's say he's a bus driver. He's happy to be a bus driver, but that woman feels like he doesn't have enough drive. He doesn't have enough ambition. Why is he okay with being a bus driver? Why is he okay with making 50,000 a year? What would you say to that woman? And do you think that that man should have more drive and more ambition? What would you say to that?
So I feel like everyone needs to find who is for them, right? There are plenty of everyday workers that have a regular job, right? But they have goals and dreams to be more and do more. They just may not have either the connections, the access, the resources, or even just something as simple as knowledge. Not even so much time, but just they don't know what to do next to get to that next level, right? And they might be trying to do as much research as possible, right? And as a woman, if you're already making way more, if you take the time and ask, like, hey, do you have goals? Do you have dreams? Is this what you want to stay doing for the rest of your life? You might find out that no, he's only doing that for now because it's what pays the bills. It allows him to save a little money. But he's actually trying to work on some other things. And you have to be humble enough to say, you know what? I like that. I'm willing to try and help you get there.
But what about the guy that doesn't? What about the guy that's like, no, I'm happy here?
Then the woman, and first and foremost, and this is the thing.
I'm happy, I'm comfortable.
As the man, you need to be comfortable in that, but you can't force a woman that makes more than you to now come down and be okay and comfortable with you there. If you don't want to grow and you don't want to elevate in a financial way, but that's what she wants to do, you need to go find somebody that matches you. You need to go find a woman that is okay making whatever she makes, and that's it.
Now, what about the woman though? What about the woman that's with a man that's okay with that? Should she be forcing him to want to be ambitious, to want to do things?
Once again, you can't force somebody if they don't see it. If they don't see it, you can't force somebody. That's the problem. People are in these relationships trying to force change, and they're miserable. The person you're married to is not a child. You can force a child. I can make my kids sweep. I can make them clean. I can make them do whatever I want them to do because they are a child. You cannot make a grown adult do something they don't want to do.
Y'all need to have them conversations beforehand. If you are an ambitious woman and you know that you got XYZ plan for your life and you see yourself going here and there, and you want somebody that's going to match your ambition, right? Ain't nothing wrong. Y'all can grow together, right? But if that's you and you meet this man, you need to have those conversations so you know right out the gate, oh, he ain't that. And so that
but you got to do. But this is what I want to say to you. Is that realistic for women? Because remember, this is what I mean. In America, there are more women than there are men.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, the average man makes around 50. And most men are content. They may have little stuff they want to do because they want to take care of their families, but the majority of men work their jobs for longer than women. You got men that's been doing their job 30 years, 40 years. Women do it too, but men seem to do it longer. So this is my thing. Is that realistic for a woman to be out there looking for a man that's going to match that when the numbers are against her?
No, it's not realistic, but I am going to disagree with you on one thing that you said. You said that a lot of men are content with being with where they're at. And I feel
Not
like
content. I don't mean content. Let me correct that. What I mean is
they're
looking
okay
at the
with making
numbers,
with what they're making.
looking at the numbers, despite them having ambition, at the end of the day, these men are staying there. They're
Yeah.
literally, they can have all the
Correct.
ambitions they want,
But
but they're staying there.
I believe they're coming into contact with women and settling with women that don't motivate, inspire, and drive them. Because when you get with a woman that pours into you, it makes you want to go. It makes you want to hit the gas pedal. If you're not wanting to hit the gas pedal, that woman is probably not for you. And that woman is probably not going to drive you.
Yeah. I could tell you from a man's perspective, right? When you get a woman that sees a lot of potential in you and she's trying to motivate and drive you, you can go as high as you want to go. You know, you might have that drive and that ambition, but you know, that fuel that you're getting from her is just going to make you go that much faster. You know, I was simply in the military and that's all I knew at the time, right? I had been in the military a couple of years at that point. And then I was moving up the ranks and my military career was going up. But she was like encouraging me, oh, babe, you should go for this award, or you should, you know, do da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea, you know. And then even outside of it, on the entrepreneurial side, right? I started my own business, and I became a published author, and I, you know, started doing music and started releasing music and doing all of these things that I probably, some of it I might have got on doing myself, but maybe not to the extent that I have, right? And some things not at all, right? She pushed me, and when it was time to me, for example, with my book, right? As I'm in the kitchen trying to write chapter by chapter each and every day, she would take the kids and make sure that they weren't coming in the kitchen to bother me. Because the way the house was set up at the time, the kitchen was the only place where I could really like get to, you know, some quiet, right? And she would do that. And I wrote that. It took me 6 months to write that book, and I grinded it out, but I couldn't have done that without her. And she encouraged every book signing, every award that I've ever gotten in the military, anything. She was always there applauding and pushing me. So if you got a woman like that, bro, you got a good thing. And if your woman isn't like that, and that's what you want in your life, then you need to reevaluate your situation. And like I said before, have those conversations up front. Too many people are getting together before having those conversations. And then after y'all get together or married, you figure out this person isn't really meant for you. And now you have all the issues of, well, I want to get a divorce, or I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
That's my thing. What do you do in a situation like that? For me, I don't think a person should divorce somebody for ambition. If you already got married and you didn't vet them properly, y'all don't got kids, y'all a family, him not having an ambition or her not encouraging you enough to break up a family, and now have the father not in the home, and now you got the kid at risk for so many statistics going against them, because a single parent home is not good for a child. They need a mother, they need a father. And to me, I don't think splitting that up because of ambition or lack of encouragement should ever be a reason for that. But what would your advice be for that person? Now, if you saying divorce, then say it. But for me, I don't think that's the reason. What I want to know from you guys is, what is your advice to that man who has a woman that she doesn't down him, but she doesn't drive him, or a woman who has a man who is totally content with the way his life is? Like, he's happy. He said, you make 80, I'll make 50. We making over 100,000.
130 right there.
Like, yeah, what else we gotta do? Like, she's like, no, I want to make 180. What would your advice be to people?
I always say counseling, because I'm gonna tell you this, like, you can't know or understand, for example, for the man that lacks the ambition, right? It could be based on the way that he was raised. It could be seeds that were just planted in him. It was, for example, both me and my husband, we were both raised to go to school, get good grades, go to college, go get a job and work that job for the rest of your life. We weren't taught, you know, entrepreneurship and, you know, investments and making, you know, generational wealth. You heard about it, but we weren't taught it. So Could we very well be the woman and the man that's okay and settles just for working every day, jobs, as long as it pays the bills, as long as we're able to travel here and there a little, let the kids do things, we could. But for the man that might be that way, talking to someone, he might find out and realize, you know what, I really do have some drive. I do have some goals. I do have some ambitions. I never thought of it that way. I didn't realize that some of the stuff I was taught growing up had just made me feel that this was like the only way.
Mm-hmm.
So talking to someone that could help unlock that. For the woman that may not be motivating or encouraging her spouse, talk to someone, find out why you feel it's not necessary to do that in your relationship. You know what I mean? Because maybe you came either from a single parent home, or maybe even though you had both parents in the home, maybe you didn't see your mother encourage your father. And people don't realize it. Even absence of something is us being taught something. So the absence of not seeing that teaches us that we don't need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So because I didn't see, you know what I mean? If I don't see my mother doing it, then why do I need to do it?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of talking with people. Talking is one of the biggest things that if people would just talk, open up their mouth, say how they feel, say what they think.
That's why the show called Let's Talk, girl.
Yeah, because if people would just start talking, you would unravel and open up some things, and you'd be like, oh my God, what? I didn't even think of that, or I didn't see that.
Like this, and don't be afraid to like if you in one of those situations where you the ambitious one and you so called stuck with somebody that isn't ambitious, or vice versa, don't be afraid to have those conversations with other individuals. You got mentors, you got friends, you got other colleagues, you got different people whom you can explore that realm of that, or that aspect of life, without necessarily having to focus solely on your spouse, right? Like if you a man and your wife is like, she good where she at, and you want more out of her, and you just see that that's never gonna happen, instead of being frustrated with that situation, find something to cultivate your ambition. You might have a friend that is a business, has their own business, or has aspirations of starting a business. Y'all communicate, y'all network, you know what I'm saying? And you can feed that, you know what I'm saying, that aspect that you're lacking with someone. You might find a mentor that can help you. Hey, I want to start a business, but my wife isn't really interested in starting a business, but can you help me, get to where you are? Because I see where you are, and that's where I want to get to. Have those conversations. You don't always have to pull everything from your spouse. Sometimes it's stuff your spouse can't give you. You know what I mean? And it's sometimes it's stuff that your spouse just isn't able to give you. There's a difference between the two. If they're not just capable, they don't have the capacity to do it, then you're trying to pull water out of a dry well. You know what I'm saying? You can get that water from somewhere else. And I'm not saying start relationships with other people. I'm just saying, like, if you are passionate about, say you're a music artist and music is your passion, but your wife just isn't a part of it, right? She no interest. Find other artists, network, and build and cultivate that, and you satisfy that need in your life without causing discord in your relationship.
See, I agree with everything that you guys said. The only thing with me, this is how my mind works, right? Me, I'm a very ambitious person. Only because if you look at my life story, I done started so many things. A lot of them failed, but I don't give up. I just keep going. Yeah. Some go stick one day. I don't care. If that doesn't work, I'm going to something else. I don't care.
Hey, this is going well right now for you.
This is me. Like, I'm constantly, I done had a hot dog cart. The point is, okay, I'm constantly trying to just go. If it don't work, well, we're going to find something else that does, right? But at the same time, I don't see anything like, all right, so if my husband's not like this at all, but let's say my husband was content. He's like, you know what? I make 60,000 a year, 50 a year. I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me. Like, I don't feel that anything is wrong with him feeling that way. I would never tell my husband, you need to go see a counselor because why you ain't ambitious. Like, to me, I feel like to think that way, unless it's something you saw in him that created it. Like, for example, he told you a story how when he was in the second grade, he flunked. and how that failure made him feel so bad he never wants to feel it again. And then you kind of put the two together and say, oh, so because he's so afraid of failing, this is why he doesn't want to do things. And then you're like, you know what, maybe you should go see someone. But if there's nothing there and you just honestly see this man is happy, he's happy where he works. He's content with the hours he has off because he can be with his family over having all this money. I feel like standing over him and saying, you need to go see some counseling because you not being ambitious is not working for this relationship. I just feel like that's kind of like me pushing my ambition on him. I feel like as married people, you know, you have to realize that we're just two different people. If he's happy and content where he's at, then let him be happy. Why must he be ambitious? For what? If he's happy with working, being a bus driver, and he's able to take care of himself, why does he have to have more? Because you want more? Well, that's you. Like, I don't.
But that's what I would say. It's most of the time, you know who you are before you. Well, let me not say that, because in this day and age, there's a lot of honey. There's a lot of women who don't know themselves. Let me take that back. But a lot. I mean, let's be real. When it comes to money, you know, a lot of times you know what it is you want and what you're reaching for in regards to the future. And so to get into a marriage with someone that you know is nowhere near, you know what I mean, what you are, either what you currently want or are trying to get to, that's crazy. Because once again, like you said, there's nothing wrong with being with a man that's content with, you know what I mean? Like when he and I met, he was like, so what are your goals and your dreams and this and that? And I was like, you don't really want to know. And he was like, no, I really do. I was like, it might scare you. And he was like, just tell me. And I was like, I have a very entrepreneurial mindset. I was like, I don't mind, you know, obviously going to work for somebody, but that's not what I want to die doing. Like, I have a purpose and I have, you know, business goals and business dreams. And when I went through he was like, oh, so, you know, what kind of business? I said, oh, you mean what kind of business is? And he was like, oh, I said, yeah, it's businesses. And so when I started going down the list, he was like, oh, you trying to be like a money-making tycoon? And I'm like, absolutely. And you know, and I've always told everybody, it's not about, you know, for the money. It's not to be able to say, oh, I make this much money. It's because what I want to do with the money, or the need for, like, what I want to do requires funding, right? It requires money. And so I was like, I just have a very entrepreneurial mindset. And he was like, well, whatever you want to do, I'm down. Like, he was like, I don't really have that mindset. I'm cool with just working a job, you know? And I was like, that's fine with me. Like, I said, shoot, I said, my businesses get big enough, I'll hire you on over in my businesses so we can keep the money in the house.
That's what I'm trying to do with this YouTube.
You're not finna go make nobody else no money. You gonna come work over here and keep the money in the house.
Yeah, that's
you know,
right.
so
40
so
hours.
yeah, so there's
40 to 50 hours out of you, okay?
Yeah.
Now listen to everybody that's in here. I put the link in the chat, you guys. They're open to questions. So you guys got any questions, any comments you want to add to the conversation, hit that link. Come on up here. They ready for the smoke. Whatever y'all got to say, they ready for it. Back with the modernness. So as you guys know, we're in a modern society. Nowadays, one income just is not enough. The reality of the situation. Unless you got an income plus something else on the side, some kind of side hustle you doing, it's hard to make it. It really is with one income. So what do you say to parents who have children, but they're both trying to work, and yet their children are not being raised by the parent? Because honestly, it's just not enough time in a day. For example, if you work 40 hours to 50 hours and he works 40 hours to 50 hours, by the time they go to school and come home, then they got their programs. You don't cook dinner, you tired. What time you spend with your kid? So what do you say to parents who have all these drives and ambitions, are working all these jobs to try to make ends meet and take care of their family? What do you say to them that just aren't raising their children? Not because they're bad parents, but they just don't have the time.
So I would say, like, we kind of went through that. We learned firsthand. Like, we set it up where I was working and she didn't want to stay, like, she didn't want to be like a stay-at-home wife. She wanted to feel like she was contributing and doing something, right? She wanted to help. And so when she went to work, we learned pretty quickly that the amount of money that she was making was just basically covering childcare. And we like, why are you going to work slaving for somebody, missing your family, missing the kids, to turn your paycheck straight over to the daycare? And then you could be at home spending that quality time with the kids. And that's where I at the time gained so much respect for the stay-at-home parents, moms and dads, depending on how y'all relationship have worked out. But like, when you stay at home, you're saving money. You're actually making money because you're not driving, you're not commuting to work. You're not turning your whole paycheck or majority of your paycheck over to the daycare. You're spending quality time teaching your kids. You're raising them the right way, or how, I can't speak for everybody, but hopefully you're raising your kids the right way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then you can find things here and there to contribute financially if that's what you want to do, but you can do it from the home, right? Now, if you guys both work, try to work out your schedules. And then we also went through a phase where she worked a daytime schedule. I worked a nighttime schedule. We had a small overlap, but somebody was always at home with the kids. We didn't have to worry about childcare, but the kids got to spend time and get edification from both parents. So maybe it's scheduling. Maybe you just got to say, okay, well, maybe I need to look for work that's going to pay more so I can cover more so the other individual doesn't have to work. Whatever that looks like, you know what I'm saying? Just try to figure out what works for you. Sometimes, and I've learned this from since I've been with her, because a lot of her family from California, and I tell them all the time, why are you out there? The cost of living is ridiculous. It's crazy how you with the salary you make in California, you can live like a king having a whole baby mansion in another state. Like, sometimes you need to relocate. I'm just being real.
And they got highest homeless rate too, from what I hear.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy out there. So like, if you say you work from home and you making $70,000, but you live in California, you are below the poverty line in California. Take your behind over to, I don't know, anywhere that's cheaper. The Texas or
Texas,
Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, somewhere. And now that $70,000 covers your mortgage, all your bills, and you still got, at the end of the year, probably like 20 to 30K just of extra funds and income. Now your other person, your spouse don't have to stay home. I mean, don't have to go out and get a job.
Work a full-time job.
Yeah, it's always ways to navigate. But you just take communication.
You have to find out what works. I think sometimes we're so focused on what we want versus what actually is going to work for the current situation. And there has to be sacrifice for a marriage to work. In the beginning of our marriage, he was working days. We had just had our youngest. And like he said, I wanted to contribute financially to the home. So I told him, I said, I'll be home during the day with the kids. And then when you get off of work, he was normally off or home by 4 or 5. I would go into Walmart. And mind you, I didn't want to have to work. I had already worked for Walmart, like almost, I think, 10 years prior to that. And I didn't really want to go back to Walmart, but I said, Walmart is the only place I know right now that's retail. And, retail, they let you kind of work whatever schedule. So I said, well, let me go there. I'll work nights. I'll work from like 5 to midnight, 5 days a week with 2 days off. And, that way, I can contribute financially, but then also I don't have to worry about childcare. So 3 days, I want to say, because I think I worked every weekend. So he was with the kids on the weekend. And then during the week, I had 3 days where he and I would literally see each other in passing. Like, he'd go to work. By the time he got home, I was literally leaving the house. You know what I mean? To go to work. Sometimes he'd bring the kids in to grocery shop, because he had to grocery shop anyway. So he'd bring the kids in, and that's when he and I would see each other for literally 15 minutes. And my bosses would look at me sometimes like, this is work. And I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm married, but I'm a good employee too. Y'all not going to get rid of me. I got to make my marriage work. And this is what makes my marriage work. And so that's what we would do for that time.
You an aisle 4, baby.
Yeah,
Yep, fact.
literally.
Don't forget
And
the rice.
they weren't allowed to come down my checkout line, so they would always find a checkout line right next to mine, and then we talk over customers that way. Like literally, but we did whatever made, whatever worked. And then when I did have my days off, I made sure to say, you know what, let's dedicate some time where you and I just sit and watch a TV show or just talk or do a date night, or you know what I mean? Like we did what we could because it's what worked for the time being.
Yeah.
And our marriage has seen a lot of different variations, but we're good at adapting. And I think that's one of the benefits with us. We don't look at a situation and say, oh, I don't feel like dealing with this right now. We say, okay, well, look, this is what life presented us. How are we going to work this out so that way we're not miserable?
So my question to you is, to get back on the modern side of this whole thing, what is your thoughts on household chores? I know we talked about it earlier, like you don't like to do laundry and he don't like to do dishes, so y'all don't work that out. But what would you say about men who feel, for example, a lot of men, they work jobs that are very physical. Most of the time, they're doing jobs that can wear and tear on the body. And most men work longer hours than most women, majority. Most women, we deal with people. We either work in a daycare, not that it's not exhausting, but as far as like the physical nature is not as physically demanding on us. So what would your thoughts be on a man? Let's say he's working 50 hours a week. He's the breadwinner. She works 40 hours a week. He has a physical type labor job. He does things like take the trash out, fix something if it's broken, stuff like that. But as far as the majority of the chores, dishes, cooking, cleaning, chores getting done, all that laundry, that's pretty much on her on top of working the 40 hours. What do you say to men that require that from a woman?
They're not being realistic. They're not being realistic. Even working in an office setting as a woman, I mean, you're talking like until you work a job and you've had to hear people all day in your ear and you have to mentally provide this customer service and resolve and provide solutions and figure stuff out for people and for companies. That's what you do for your job, whatever it is. Even if you have an accounting job, you're figuring out numbers. Office jobs are equally as draining and as hard as a physical job. People want to say physical labor is the hardest, and it never equates to the emotional or the mental. It's a lie. Look at people who suffer from depression. Look at people who suffer from mental illness. Mental and emotional will drain you faster than physical. 30 minutes, mental and emotional things will take you out. Physically, I've seen people in the gym go for 2 hours, for 4 hours. They go to competitions and run these races and these, you know what I mean? For hours. But mentally and emotionally, you can be drained in a matter of 30 minutes. So to be at work for 40 hours a week, to then come home every night. And you have some extremes where men are like, I don't believe in eating, because I've heard it. I don't believe in eating leftovers. I need a fresh meal every night cooked. You're first and foremost, I don't know what book you're reading. I don't know who raised you, but you're not going to get that out of a woman that works 40 hours. You have to give something up. You either need to provide entirely financially for the house. That way she can stay home and do all of those things. Or their sacrifice and compromise has to be made.
Okay, this person says, I think in a situation like that, the couples need to work out a situation that's not stressful on both parties.
Yeah, like, but when a man says he wants something and that's what he expects from a woman, that man is not willing to compromise. So that's why I'm sitting here saying that's not reality. And the problem is we also live in a world.
What if the man, because a lot of men may say things like this, what if the man is making enough where she doesn't have to work, but she wants to work? And he's like, look, you don't have to work. Work part-time.
So
This is what I want from my wife.
So they should have discussed this before they got married then. Because if she has ambitions and goals where she needs to financially, where she feels she needs to contribute or do for herself financially for whatever reason, you should have knew about that before you got into that relationship with
But
her.
do you think that's a little selfish? Just why I say that. If I have a husband that's making all the money to where I don't have to work, and we have children, and if he's making money where I don't have to work the majority of the time, that means he's working. He ain't got no little side hustle, or if he does, he's busy. And if he's saying, babe, we got kids, I like a fresh meal when I get home. Like, I don't like eating out. I don't like leftovers. I like to have a cooked meal when I get home. You ain't got to lift a finger as far as working go. You can have dreams and aspirations all you want. Just at least make sure I got a meal when I get home. And then you can have all the dreams and aspirations you want. Do you think for a woman to say, no, I don't care if you provide a life for me, you take care of everything I ever want, I still got my dreams and aspirations, so that's going to have to be fit into this schedule. I only could cook you a meal twice or 3 times a week.
Once again, it has to be talked about. They have to figure out the compromise. Because this is my thing. If my husband tells me, babe, you don't have to work no more, I can tell you right now, I'm ready to stop.
Most women are. We don't want to work.
Because, and it's not that I don't want to work.
You want to do what you want to do. You want to do some goals and dreams.
I want to work on my dreams, my goals and aspirations. Because this is the thing. It's about time, It's about time management as well. When we were living in Guam, there's 24 hours in a day. I can cook. It's not that hard to cook a meal every day. If you have a slow cooker, an Instapot, you take it, you put your meal in there, and boom. Look, when he comes home, it's gonna be hot, it's gonna be ready, and it's a fresh new meal. You do that first thing in the morning or around lunchtime, and by the time he gets off and come home, it's hot, it's cooked, it's ready to go. I have the rest of the day to deal with the kids, to deal with the house. And let's be real, mind you, we do a lot of laundry in our house because I don't know what our kids do, and I don't know how and why. But we do a lot of laundry, but it's not every single day.
Y'all got 5 people in the house. That's why you do a lot of laundry.
It's not every single day. Do you get what I'm saying? So maybe 3 days out of the week, 4 days out of the week, then I'm dealing with laundry, right? Then I'm doing the dishes, whenever there's dishes in the sink. You know what I mean? Sweeping and cleaning, like it's not going to be so.
And put them kids to work too.
Especially as they get older. Absolutely. They can do some of the stuff. So then what happens is
my 3-year-old be mopping.
It's a matter. It's a matter of time management and saying, okay, on this day, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. That way, in these little time slots, I can work on my dreams, my goals, and my aspirations. I can build my businesses. I can do what I want to do. Do you know what I mean? So it's not that you have to be selfish, because if you know how to do,
you can make it work. And
you can make it work. You don't have to work at all. You don't even have to do a part-time, because at that point, if he's funding everything and providing for everything, figure out your schedule, figure out what you're going to do on what days, at what time slots. And you can fit everything that you want to do, every goal, every dream. If it's going back to school, you can go back to school.
You just gotta find a way to make it work.
It's a matter of figuring it out. It's a matter of figuring it out. Yeah. I mean, I'm big on life coaches. I feel like, some people say I can't figure it out. Like, I got too much stuff in my head already. All right, well then get a life coach. Your husband make enough money. He say he provided for everything. Get a life coach to help you sort everything out that you want to do and that you have to do. Get somebody who's good at that.
And sometimes just even the schedule, like for me, for instance, my husband, he's a truck driver. So he's, he finally found a job where he's home pretty much almost every night, but he does work long hours. And one of his things is he'll eat leftovers. He don't care about that. But he does like a hot meal when he gets home in a clean house. Like that's him. Mm-hmm. Hot meal, clean house. Pretty much. He's simple. Like hot meal, clean house, and of course, clean clothes. If he got those things, he's literally a happy camper, right? Yeah. When you have someone like me, I have 7 children. They're homeschooled. I'm trying to do this podcast. I got other things going on. you're thinking, okay, some people might say, well, every night he got to have a hot meal. Like, that's kind of unreasonable. Like, I got stuff going on, but it
Instapot.
isn't.
I'm
It
telling
really,
you,
no, I
Instapot.
know.
It'll save your life.
It really was time management. I
Yeah.
had to sit down, and I think I told him this. Didn't I tell you? I think I told him this a few months ago. I said I got so much in my head, and I'm used to just carrying it in my mind and just knocking it out. But it's so much, I can't keep it in my mind no more because now I'm neglecting certain things. And I had to literally take a piece of paper, a pencil, and I had to start like scheduling, like, okay, at this time I'm gonna do that, at this time I'm gonna do this. And since I've been trying to go on that schedule, things have been way more smoother. I've been able to get a lot of things done, and it's been keeping him happy because he's a really simple guy. Food, clean clothes, clean house. Literally, that's all he wants. And believe it or not, most men are like that. They're really not difficult creatures. Like, they're very simple. Like, they are. So some women out here complain and say, I've had even friends tell me, like, well, you don't think he's being unrealistic? You got the homeschool, you got this, you got that. I don't work a job. He literally, even when he's working, he takes time to constantly push this podcast, give me ideas, promoting different things, trying to link me up with other people, still working a 12-hour shift, and comes home, appreciates everything I do. And all he's asking for is a cook meal and a clean house. And I got people telling me that's unrealistic. That's not unrealistic. That's realistic. We just have to compromise and just, like you said, communicate, time management, and you just make it work. You know what I mean?
I think one thing that some women sometimes are fearful of, because I've definitely seen it, not only in just the everyday community, but especially also even in the military community. These women, they stay home, they take care of the home, do great at taking care of the home, raising the kids and cooking and cleaning, and something happens in the marriage and they end up getting divorced. And they haven't worked a job in who knows how many years, right? But the husband ends up deciding they want a divorce. They end up, wanting to leave. So now the women feel like, I just spent the last 10, 15, even 20 years, taking care of your home, this home that we worked on and created together. Not only do you want to leave me with nothing, but I have nothing to show for because I wasn't working.
You're talking about the woman.
The woman.
But the problem with that is that's not what's happening. It's the women that are leaving.
Yeah,
no, what I'm saying, the fear about these women that don't want to
thinking.
The women that don't want it, the women
situation.
Because there's a group of women that are like, oh, if my husband ever told me he didn't want me to work, I'm not doing that. I still need to keep some kind of job.
Just in case something goes wrong.
So, and I think that fear, and that's another thing, you have to know who you married.
Yeah,
I know this. What I'm getting ready to say is probably going to sound crazy, but I'm serious. I mean it. He's probably going to laugh, but we've had this conversation already before. God forbid something happened to this union. That's not a death do us part. We have already made the agreement. We will be living on two separate sides of one house. We will be finishing. We will be finishing
what we started.
No, like co-parenting, like finish raising the kids, right?
We started this, we finished it.
Because one thing I thank God for him for is we have a mindset when it comes to the money that comes into the household. It doesn't matter who makes it. It is equally the both of ours. My money is his money is my money. He has equal access to my bank accounts. I have equal access to his.
That's not what women say. They say my money, and his money, my money.
No. What's mine is his, and what's his is mine. And if you think he's taking my name off of his bank account, something happened to this relationship, baby, you got it messed up. There's going to be 3 of us on that bank account because I need access to be able to take care of these kids. And one thing I have never been about, I'm not one of those, I don't believe so when my daughter's biological father, he's deceased, but before he passed, and I was in a relationship with him, I didn't believe in, my mother just always taught me to be Independent, but not the type of independent that we see out here in the world, right?
Well, I don't need a man, but just how to take care of
my mother
yourself.
never said that. So she said you want to be independent enough to know that you can do for yourself and that you don't have to ask, right? But you never want to have the attitude that you don't need anybody, because if that was the case, God wouldn't have made it so that we would need a spouse, or that we would need friends, or that we would need family. We would all be born just out of a flower somewhere, not attached to humans, really. You know what I mean? That's what my mother always taught me. So when I left my daughter's father and it was time to put him on child support, I remember child support asking me, you know, how much is your rent? How much is your car note? Like, how much is everything, right? And I said, look, I want $50 a week. I said, my daughter right now has clothes until she's 2, has shoes until she's 2. I said, we have a roof over our head that my mother and my brother pay for. I have a car that is paid for. I don't need him to pay for any of that. I said, what I need him to help me with right now is diapers and wipes. And $50 a week, I think, is because originally that's what he agreed to. He said, I can give you $50 a week, because he wasn't working. We're not going to discuss what, you know, he was doing, but y'all can get the gist. But I said, okay, $50 a week, as long as it takes care of her. Between my mother, friends, my father, family, just everybody, my daughter was provided for in every sense, in every part of life. The only thing I needed was help with diapers and wipes. And so, you know, the judge that was doing the hearing for child support, she said, we can't do $50 a week because the state minimum is $60. I said, okay, well, then you do whatever the state minimum is, and I will let him know that that's why it's at $60. And if he has a problem, then he's just going to have to come up here and talk with y'all. But I don't need him to pay for my life, because the reality is even if I didn't have a daughter, I'd still need a car.
You still need a roof over your head.
I'd still need a roof over my head.
Yeah. I always felt like that with women.
So,
like
the judge was like, she's going to grow. Like, I said, and when she needs more money, I'll ask for more.
Exactly. Yeah.
But right now she doesn't need it. So I don't believe, you know, like, so for him, I love it because we trust each other financially. I don't have to when I see money come out of the account, I don't have to question, because I know he's already in his head calculated that we still have enough to pay bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and vice versa. Same thing. He has never been like, what you spending the money on? Like, when I say gave me full access to his paycheck, I tease people, and I tease him too. I tell everyone, like, I spend his money faster than he does, because I was the one going in and
guilty.
Like, but I mean, you know, what I meant by that was I was the one going in and,
I'm saying I'm guilty.
Paying the bills. Okay, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, like, I just, like, our focus isn't always, you know, it's never has been the money, but we trust each other and we just talk and communicate. And like I said, at every time life throws something at us, we make it work.
So this is someone right here says, King says you guys definitely have a beautiful union. So
thank you.
Thank you, King. So this is what I want to do, because no one has hit the link for any questions or comments, but they definitely blowing up the chat. Showing number of love, hearts.
I can't see the chat, so
Girl, Queen over here, Queen throwing hearts out here. Sheila out here throwing the hands up, like they celebrated the chat, so they love it. Y'all, it's tonight. Possible. So we thank you guys for coming on and showing us that it's possible.
Yeah,
that there are people out here that are doing it and they're happy and they're working it out. Before I close it out, I want to give you both a few minutes. I'll let you go first, sister, and we'll close it out with the brother. I want you to give a few minutes of just some advice that you want to give to people, as far as people who are looking to be married and people who are already married.
Communicate, talking it out. Like I said before, don't try to be, when you're communicating, especially in a situation where emotions can be involved, high stress situations, whatever it is. Don't look for the opportunity to be right. Look for the opportunity to figure out what's best, what works for both. And it may be where what one says is a great you know what I mean, a great decision, and the other, and they're on two totally opposite sides of the spectrum, but find a way to bring both of those together for compromise to make it work. Also, definitely when you're looking, love you too, Shelly. That's my kid's godmom. She's like amazing. But what was I gonna say? Also make sure you know who you're getting into a relationship with. Like I said, you can't force change on people. So not showing your true self to someone, you're setting yourself up for failure, because then you end up getting into these deep connections, not being your true self. And then as time goes on, the real you starts to unravel, and as well as the real them. And then you start to see, like, we shouldn't have got into this. Yeah. The last thing I do want to say quickly is make sure you are equally yoked. I know a lot of people hear that and they think it's a biblical term. It's used in the Bible, yes, but remove, God, remove the Bible from it. Being equally yoked, in simple terms, means make sure you find your match. If you, for example, we're going to use sex because a lot of people have a problem with this. You meet someone, they are not open-minded. The only thing they want is missionary and back rubs.
What an example. You go, yes, girl.
They only want missionary and back rubs.
They want M&B.
But then the other person is like, no, I need some other positions, and then I need some body parts, the oral, and if you're not willing to compromise on that, that's not going to be a happy marriage. People think being equally yoked is, oh, I'm Christian and they're Muslim, so it's not going to work. You can be Christian and Christian, and it still not work, because there are other things in there that don't match up. Parenting styles. My parenting style is here, and if we can't compromise or find a good chunk of our parenting styles to be similar, that's not going to work there. And over the kids, like, that's when the discord comes and there's fights, and you guys want to, pinpoint and fight over who's right on whose parenting style. No, you have to be equally yoked in every area of your life. Every area. Because if you are not, you will not be happy. Yeah. Will not be happy. Right. So when you find someone, talk about everything. Once again, the dreams, the goals, the desires. If someone does not match your mindset, finances. If you believe finances should be joined the way he and I are, the person you're with is like, no, I need my own bank account. I need you to not know about some of the funds I have set away. That is not a person you should marry. It's not to say that that is wrong. People are quick in the world we're living in. Everyone is wanting to say, oh, this is what's wrong and this is what's wrong. First and foremost, there's a lot that's wrong, right? Because everyone is being raised differently. The fact is you have to find your match. And if you're coming across people that aren't your match, be okay with it. Don't be so desperate where you're either changing yourself or trying to change them just because they so fine and they so good looking and they make the amount of money you want them to make. It's not going to work. Money does not buy happiness. I don't care if the person makes 6 figures. I don't care if he's a millionaire or she's a millionaire. Yep. Money does not buy happiness. When you are laying, because what happens is when people get unhappy, they go find somebody else to make them happy. So then there's cheating, there's infidelity. It's pointless. So now you're laid up in the house with someone that's unhappy, and in their free time, they're going to find the other person that makes them happy. But you're still laid up in their house miserable. The money is not making it. So find your match.
And the suicide rate is crazy among the rich. So if money brings happiness, then why they killing themselves? Yeah. Why they killing themselves? So she pretty much covered like the before you get married. So I'm gonna just focus on married while you married, right? And communication is the most important thing. Communicate everything. Don't hide nothing. All of that. Oh, I didn't tell you this. No, talk about everything. Even if it's something that makes you uncomfortable, even if it's something that causes the other individual to feel some type of way. The fact that you communicate that, once you communicate it, you can work through it. Like she'll tell you some stuff that I told her. In the moment, she probably didn't like to hear that. You know what I mean? But I was open and I was honest about it, and vice versa. She's told me some things that made me have to take a step back and go, "Oh man, I need to self-evaluate." Right? But communication, we have a rule in our relationship where we don't go to bed angry at each other. No matter how mad you is, we going to bed together. We get in this bed, and you finna get this spoon, right? You finna
That's right. You get this spoon.
Ain't no, I'm gonna go sleep on the
spoon.
couch, or you kicking me out the house or telling me I gotta sleep on the couch for the night. My couch is real comfortable too. I love that couch, but but yeah,
If
so
I
we
sleep on the
don't.
couch,
And
so
because he likes it, I don't let him sleep on it.
yeah, and
It's a punishment
we have a
almost.
comfortable,
It's not letting me go to my
couch.
couch.
If I try to sleep on the couch, he's thinking like, whoa, what
Yeah,
you doing on this couch? I'm like, it's comfortable. Get your butt
Yeah.
in this bed.
It's something. Even if you like in your mind, you know 100% you right. Maybe y'all just had an argument or something. You think you're 100% right, and you don't want nothing to do with that individual. It's just something about being next to the person you love and having that closeness, that intimacy, and that touch. You kind of just let the anger and the animosity just go out of you. You know what I'm saying? And this might sound unrealistic, and it might sound like I'm bragging because I'm not, but I'm not. I promise you, I'm not. I'm saying this so if we can do it, that means you guys can do it too. In the whole 8+ years of us being together, sis, ask me how many arguments have we had?
How many arguments y'all had?
0.
Oh, okay.
We have never argued. Now we've had disagreements, but if we have a disagreement, we're respectful, right? I respect her, she respects me. We don't call each other names. We don't, you know what I'm saying? We don't disrespect each other. If it gets to the point where you cannot have a civil discussion and you're too upset, like sometimes I'm so heated.
Time out. You gotta take a time out.
Time out, walk away, cool off, do what you gotta do, and readdress the situation later. Absolutely. Ain't no point. Because look, like I said earlier in the beginning of the show, y'all on the team, y'all on the same team. Is y'all against the world. So if you in the house and y'all got an issue with each other, work it out. Work it out. And if it's too hot in that moment, cool off, come back to it later. And if you come back to it later and it's still too hot because that situation is just that bad, cool off, come back to it later. And then when you finally get a chance to sit down and communicate, do that, and then you'll be able to work through whatever it is.
All right. Y'all heard what they said. I think this was a really good show. I think you guys definitely brought a lot of clarity to a lot of people because people have given up on marriage, especially men. If you look at it, men aren't getting married like that no more. And I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a women's fault. I'm not going to say it's a men's fault. Honestly, I think it's just everything that we're seeing is just discouraging. And men do control marriage the majority of the time because they ask. So, if they're not asking anymore.
Well, it's scary because the legal system sets men up to fail.
That's pretty much half or 60% of it, because it's like someone came on my show last week and they asked a question. They said, why would I get married in the United States when all of these things are against me? What is there here that will make me feel that this is worth it? And a lot of people said things like, you can raise your kids, she'll be there to support you. And someone in the comment section said, I don't need a wife for that. Honestly, it's the truth. You don't need a wife. You could literally shack up and still be raising your kid.
Yeah.
You can literally, and I'm not agreeing to that, but I'm just saying the reality of the situation is you can.
The legal system sets men up to fail.
It's really messed up. And to have you guys on here and to show people it works. And this is how it works. I really ask all you guys that's on here, share. And I'm not saying share because I want my channel to blow up. Yes, I do want my channel to blow up. But I'm saying share because people need to hear it. We get the drama all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, Laura Harvey, she done left her man again. Oh, Kim Kardashian, what number husband she working on? We always hearing that, and people be so quick to click it, right? But when are we out here actually promoting Black excellence, Black relationships, Black love, Black building, everything that you guys had against y'all, the distance, the blending of the family, the financials, you not working, I'm working, all of those things, anyone would say, oh, I got divorced for that. Oh, that didn't work for me. But you guys somehow made it work. So what they share with you guys, communication, patience, speaking to someone, never going to bed angry, compromise with one another, and not always wanting to be right, but doing what's right, not that you're right. So all these things put together is what you see today. And all of you guys should be inspiring to want to be in a relationship like this, or people around you to be able to be in a relationship like this. So again, thank you guys so much for coming on. Y'all didn't have to do this.
Thank you.
But y'all did. And I'm so thankful. You guys, this is going to be a monthly thing. Let's Talk Relationships. So Let's Talk podcast. Every month we do Let's Talk Relationships, because we got to balance it out. We can't be doing negative stuff all the time. We need some positive stuff. With that being said, make sure y'all come here next Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be doing his album release. You guys don't miss it. I'm going to start pushing the promotions out next month. You guys, next month. Tomorrow, I'm going to start pushing some promotions out. If you guys like what you hear, you guys enjoyed tonight's show, put a donation in there. Cash App, Let's Talk Podcast 55. We appreciate all the love. Any donation you guys want to add to the show. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the claps. We love you guys too. Till next time, let's talk.